48-hour art check episode round something. I can't remember what it was.
I'm actually forgetting the round. I think we're on round 8.
That sounds right. That sounds
it
right.
It might be 8, might be 9. I don't know. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Look in the show notes.
In the title, it will show up after we are done. Right. So today we are going to try something that we haven't done before and actually stick to 15 minutes.
Yes. The reasoning being we had to switch days for the other show that I do, Artcasters, with Scott Cirkland, and so I'm doing double vlogging duty today, which is kind of cool for these shows.
Is that on your channel tonight or Scott's?
It's actually on my channel, so
stay tuned.
People
right after this one.
Exactly, just stick around, and it should be coming up.
Okay, cool.
So should we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So what did you get done in the last 2 days?
Okay, I am not quite where I wanted to be, but part of that is because we're doing this a little earlier. Usually this would have been at like 9, and my kind of work time is pretty much like the window of time between when my child falls asleep and then however long I can stay up after that. And that's usually my work on personal projects time, you know?
Yeah.
So, so that being said, I did get the rough pencils done for the next page of Quarterly Stories. So I'm just showing a snippet of what those look like. They're very, very loose and rough. And then what I'm going to do, and what I generally do when I'm working in this style, is do a second pass in magenta on like a multiply setting on a different layer, where I kind of tighten up all my pencils and kind of rework stuff that needs reworking. And then from there, I should be in a really good position to, print it out and start inking, which is kind of exciting. So that's what I'm hoping to get done tonight, but I'm kind of jumping ahead. So,
and is that magenta layer, is that just tightening the pencils, like going from kind of roughs to tighter pencils?
Yeah, and I like kind of setting it on multiply because I find that sometimes when I'm tightening pencils, there's something nice about the loose pencils underneath. So it's like I can kind of pull from it and sort of go from there to coming up with a really good, solid final line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the magenta thing is just a weird, like it could be any color, any secondary color. That just is easy to kind of see over,
Right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. So what did you get done?
I also did not get as far as I wanted to get, but I did finish this page. And so this is done now, which is nice. And I also have an 8-minute time lapse of me inking most of this, which is kind of cool. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to make just an explanation video of the decisions I made during this, or if I just want to use this as kind of like background B-roll while I talk about something. But it's kind of cool because this page is kind of intimidating me for a long time because of the way that I wanted to do it. And so you can kind of see, if I can do this right, you can kind of see like down here I have, kind of several layers of depth where we've got like several foreground elements, and then we've got like layered midground elements that are kind of in perspective. And so I'm trying to do this thing where the depth zigzags back and forth from these elements, the one on the right and then on the left, and then we go to the left, and then we go to the right, and then we go to the house, and then we go to these mountains, and so I'm trying to have it be like that, as well as have everything sharp and jagged and pokey kind of converge on her, because she's kind of bad. And then he's surrounded by more like light, whereas she's surrounded by more like darkness and sharp and jaggy edges. And his is more natural, where we've got the wood, which is a little bit softer. And so anyway, I'm trying to do a lot of like character development with this one.
Yeah.
It turned out pretty well. The perspective on the house is very wrong, and the perspective of the bridge or the pier is also very wrong. And those are just those type of things that are just going to bug me forever. But I mean, hand inked, not digitally inked, and so there's just some stuff that I've just got to leave and move on to the next spread because nothing's ever going to be perfect. So
Yeah, and I think the style is free enough to where you can get away with cheating perspective just a little bit, you know.
right,
Um,
yeah. And that's one of the things that I like about the brush because I used to use a nib and microns, um, but I was just so precise that it was almost like mechanical, and it had no life to it. And so ever since I switched to a brush, I get a lot more kind of fluidity, and it's a little bit more forgiving uh,
yeah,
and stuff like
yeah,
that. So yeah,
yeah, and it's weirdly enough kind of quicker
mm-hmm.
once you get in the flow of it. Cool. So should we get into what is it? Struggles, right?
Struggles or plans. We kind of switch which one we do first. So
Okay, let's do plans then struggles, or what do you think?
sure, yeah.
Okay, so so my plan is to by the next time we talk have the pencils finalized, and then I'll be a little ambitious and hope for maybe getting to the point where I actually have the layout and the type inked as well, like physically inked. So
Cool.
we'll see, but that's kind of my goal for that. Yeah, and then professionally, I did kind of finally follow up with the documentary guy, and so I actually have to watch a rough cut of the documentary probably tonight after Artcasters and just try to kind of absorb it and get visual ideas and cues and stuff. But I'm excited about it because it's actually about a pretty amazing person. So
Yeah,
I have
that's
to kind of
awesome.
keep, yeah, I have to keep a lot of that stuff under wraps. Who knows where it'll lead, but yeah, yeah,
That's cool. That's also a very full night because you're doing this live, and then you're doing Artcasters, and then you're doing your own project, and then you're doing your research for this side thing. Oh man, that's a lot in an evening.
yeah. I mean, I try to squeeze in a lot.
Yeah,
They're
sure.
usually not this packed, but it. The weird thing is, um, like tomorrow for instance, I have a band practice too, and then
Mm,
I've worked out all this, like we've got this slot secured for demo time and recording. I'm just a person, I like, to me I want to be making stuff like
yeah,
more than I'm consuming stuff,
right.
and that's always a hard balance because I'm also getting really into the wire lately, so like watching, backtracking on it because I was one of the few guys who missed it. So it's that fine balance between like, do I watch an episode of The Wire or do I get a ton of stuff done?
Right.
Um, it's a that fine balance. What about you? What are
Yeah.
your plans?
So I am currently experiencing that stupid victory lap paralysis of like finishing this page because like in my mind it was such a big deal. Like I actually penciled this. It was one of the first pages that I penciled like when I started this project. Um, and for some reason I've like intention or subconsciously procrastinated it. So now that it's done, I've had a couple hours to do stuff. My wife and daughter are out of town. I haven't done anything. I'm just kind of walking around going, "Hey, I finished that page." And so my main plan is to do something. But I actually think I have the roughs. So I do thumbnails about 3 inches, and then I do roughs at kind of a full size, and then I do pencils, and then I do inks. And I have the roughs for the adjoining page of that. So you open this up, the introduction of the characters and everything that I described at the last part of the book because I'm trying to do like a chiasmus thing where pages mirror each other in theme.
Got it.
And so the ending page of the book after the villain, after she's dead and all that stuff, spoiler alert, is him sitting on that pier fishing from a different angle. And so my plan is I would like to progress that page significantly. right now it's all digital, and if I can get it to paper, I think I actually might be able to knock that one out this week as well, which would be possibly one of the most productive weeks I've had if I could do 4 fully inked 11 by 17 pages.
Yeah,
That would be pretty significant. So that's my goal, is to progress that page and start inking it before the weekend. So
cool.
yeah.
All right, and I'm imagining that might segue nicely into struggles. So let's get into struggles.
Okay.
So for me, the big struggle that I'm having is just, once again, and I think I mentioned this a few ago, and I'm sure this will be a recurring theme, is just trying to have kind of a realistic viewpoint of what I can and can't accomplish in a day. And so one of the advantages of myself having really high expectations for my output is that I get a lot done. But the downside is, it's you don't feel a lot of reward when you're like expecting to get twice as much done and you get half that,
Yeah.
So it's like that fine balance between, I still want to remain ambitious, but I also do need to get a better gauge of my own output. And I think I've mentioned before, this isn't really an issue I have with clients or at work in particular. It's just, it's just specifically a struggle that has to do with personal work and my own expectations that tend to not, other than on this thing, don't go communicated to other people,
Right.
So, and this is maybe a tip, like if somebody's new to illustration or design, when you're quoting, always kind of overestimate.
Yeah.
It's better to overestimate your time frame than underestimate and then miss a deadline. So
yeah.
But with myself, I should probably learn the same trick,
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. I have a similar thing where my expectations of myself are so high.
Yeah.
Even though I actually do get quite a bit done, I'm still kind of like, oh, but I didn't get all of the things that I wanted to get done, and it's kind of a weird thing. Yeah. So go ahead.
Ox is in the chats, and he said hi, hello Ox,
Hey,
and
Ox.
then I'd rather be drawing said the pages are looking really good, which I totally agree. They are looking good. That the detail you put in that is insanely awesome.
Thanks.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So struggles. Actually, I bought on your recommendation, I bought a little wrist deal, and I slept with it last night. Because of the detail of that page, and because I don't normally ink for hours and hours and hours. I'm roughly guessing I put in like 8 hours into the inking of that, and I did that in like a really compressed time frame of like a day and a half, and so I normally don't do that much detail in that short of a time. So my hand was killing me.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that, and so that helps. Sleeping with that wrist thing did help. The main thing that I've got going on right now is that whenever my family is out of town, I don't know what happens, but my schedule just, I think it's the lack of limitation that I can do anything I want. I get so little done, and I get so much napping and so much, like, nobody's there to do anyway. So and coupled with the whole, like, I just finished this page that I was intimidated about.
Yeah.
My main struggle is just I need to not lose momentum. I need to not. I'm not taking today off. I finished it yesterday. I will be working right after this for several hours, because if I don't, it could be a week until I put pen to paper again. Just based on past experience, I can get a lot done, but I get it done in these big bursts, and then I kind of just peter out. And so that's the struggle that I'm dealing with.
Yep, I feel it. All right, so should we wrap it? I mean, do our last bit of wrap up stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I really think that the work you're putting in is really showing on the page that you're doing. Like that spread that you showed, like that detail you added just since the last time we had an art check. It's really exciting to see.
Oh, cool.
And
Thank you.
so I'm definitely rooting for you to like keep on it and don't lose the the flow of it, because you're right. Like for me, I sympathize a lot with that struggle of I tend to and I would say same thing with like if my wife and kids are out of the house, or well, wife and kid,
Yeah.
I think it's for me, it's like the routine um, allows me these spaces of like windows of time to work.
Right.
And when that routine's broken, it's like those habits start just flying all over the place. So it becomes a much more difficult thing. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like it's this vicious cycle, because at some point in time, my wife and I both go to bed pretty late, but at some point in time, she's going to say, it's 1 a.m., I'm going to bed. And then I'll stay up for a little bit longer and then go to bed. That never happens. And so then the next day I get up for work at 6:50 or 7 or whatever, having gone to bed much later than that. Then I'm exhausted, and then I like get home, I have no energy. And then like there's nobody to be like, hey, we're going to sit down and eat dinner. So I kind of just snack, and then like by like 11:30 I'm like starving, and so I spend a while like making dinner, and I'm eating at like midnight, and so like just it's this horrible. Anyway,
Oh yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah, the worst night owl in me comes out when my wife and kid are out, because it's like the worst scheduling, because I'm by nature somebody who used to stay up till like 5 in the morning working on stuff. And
and
so
I would do that all the time.
Yeah, and that's what starts happening. So yeah, but I honestly think you're making good progress on your book. It's cool that you tackled that huge thing, carry that over, and tackle the next.
Well, thanks. And I want to go back and get back on quarterly stories, because it has been quite a long time. I went and read everything that you had posted a while ago, but there's quite a few pages that you've done since then, and I love that you go back and forth between kind of that more, I guess you'd call it realistic style, and then the more like 80s cartoon style when you do like flashbacks to your childhood. And so like since I've been seeing like the saber-toothed tiger tooth today, and the one that you did earlier last week, and like I'm like, oh wait, how does this fit in, because I can't really remember. So I want to go back and like, I don't know, because I hate reading one page at a time. I just can't stand it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But I want to go back and be like, I'm trying to decide, should I wait another month and then like binge the whole thing again or whatever? Because I'm super interested in how these pages like are kind of tying into the story. Anyway, it's because it's looking really good. So what you're doing is intriguing. I would say it's intriguing, which is really good. That's a compliment. Because it's like oh yeah, what's going on? That's really cool. Mainly because I have like the tone of like the little game that you made up that got stolen by the other dude, like, and that kind of happened in the comic before. And so I'm like, oh, what else is happening? Like, what's he doing now? Anyway, so yeah, it's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I've recommended it to quite a few people. So
awesome. I appreciate it. All right. Well, I think the reason I like to switch tone too is also to keep myself interested, but also to lighten kind of the heaviness of some of the other chapters. Right. So it's like it functions as kind of a commercial break, but within it, it's also still got themes and things that are advancing the story. Yeah. So, So I guess that we gotta call it quick, because I got another thing coming up.
Because you're going live on your other show in a minute.
I know. But I am super pumped about the fact that we're keeping with this, and I'm excited about seeing you on Friday.
So, yeah. I'm really excited about, and I want to give a shout out to Mike and Gaz have started their own version of this called 168. And I watched...
Best theme song ever.
The best theme song ever. I'm not sure if it was impromptu or if it was scripted, but you couldn't tell because it was amazing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Gaz has incredible vocals, and you've got to go check that out. But go check those guys out because it was really cool. And I will tell you what, Mike is in trouble because Gaz is pretty hardcore. That dude was like not letting Mike get away with kind of wishy-washy stuff, and I was like, dude, this is intense. It was like a dramatic moment when he was like, no, you gotta commit to something specific. Anyway, it was good. And then there's like another guy that reached out, and I don't have his name in front of me, and I'm sorry, to me on Instagram saying that he was gonna set one up, and so it's really cool to start seeing this kind of spread and work because as Josh and I have both said, it's been super helpful for us. And so if you are anything even remotely like me and you want to do more than you do, or you have these periods where you're like, maybe I'll just play 200 hours of video games for the next 6 months or something, do something like this, whether you do a weekly version of it or an every other day or something like this, where you're checking in with somebody else who's also doing something. Because I know we say this every episode, but I cannot express how much just that little bit of pressure is like super helpful, but not debilitating or stressful at all. It's just like, just in the back of your mind, just enough to keep you working. It's really awesome. Like, this format is great. And then go check out those.
100% agree.
Yeah, go check out everybody else who's starting to do this, which is going to be cool. So, okay. Let's do this. If you would like to check out Josh's work, go to quarterlystories.com. And quick pitch, this is one of the most authentic is a word that gets kind of tossed around too much, I think, nowadays. But this is literally one of the most authentic and real feeling things that I think you'll read. It's very good writing as well as art. You can check out my stuff at corykerr.com, and there's lots of things there. And then thanks to No Saboteurs for the license to the intro music, and congratulations on everybody who's started doing one of these as well. And we'll see you guys later. I'm excited that there's people in the chat, and stick around on Josh's channel for the Artcasters, which will be coming up shortly.